Hello, and welcome back to day 4 of 13 days of horrible crafts and even scarier stories. Today's story is another one from my good friend Ksenia. It's called I Can't Celebrate Holidays. Thank you again, Ksenia, for allowing me to read your wonderful story. And let's get into it. Every year since the day I was born, every year a holiday completely changed my life. Whether it was my father dying on Christmas Eve, my mother becoming paralyzed on Easter, or my house burning down on New Year's Day, I never knew which holiday it was going to be for me that year until it happens. I'm 27 years old and utterly alone in this world. I don't allow anyone close to me for fear of losing them during what is supposed to be a joyous occasion. I work as an accountant, not a glamorous job by any means, but allows me to relatively work alone while also getting every major holiday off. I live in a small one-bedroom, one-bathroom apartment. I used to have a Yorkie named Clyde, but I lost him on Arbor Day a few years ago to a tree falling on him during our daily walk. After my mother died a few years ago on Valentine's Day to poisoned candy, I'd had enough. I moved away from everything I had ever loved: school, friends, and what little family I had left. I attended college across the country. I was an asshole to everyone that I met on purpose so that I wouldn't develop a connection with them. That ended up causing me problems when I attempted to find a job, since I had no network of professional contacts, so once again I packed up and moved. I found a single accounting job at a hole-in-the-wall tech startup with less than 50 employees. I was pleased when I found out and immediately applied. They hired me on the spot. None of my coworkers like me. I'm never invited to after-work drinks or any of the various parties that are thrown, but in all honesty, it is for the best. I am so lonely and would give anything to have a friendly embrace from a friend, or hell, even a lover, but I know it would cause me grief in the long run. All of the years of my life, every time something bad happened on a holiday, it could be explained away by coincidence. Your father was depressed. It had nothing to do with this curse that you speak of. Or, your mother was hit by a car because she pissed off the wrong person. Quit with the crazy talk. They would tell me every time I trusted someone enough to bring it up. Or, Cynthia was a terrible influence anyway. She got what she deserved. But they're all dead now. Things changed for the worse last month, and this is why I am reaching out for help. Last month on St. Patrick's Day, I was locked inside of my house, like I always am on every major holiday. I had cut the power and water to my apartment, stayed away from the bathroom, and avoided the kitchen as I was fasting. I had fallen asleep on the living room floor, away from all of my furniture, when I was awoken by someone screaming my name. "Chris!" A deep voice awoke me. Startled, I sat up quickly and looked around my apartment. Everything was exactly as I left it. I laid back down and stared at the ceiling. "Aren't you hungry, Christopher?" a softer voice asked me as the light turned on in the kitchen. I had a bad feeling in my gut, the same one that I got just before something or someone that I loved died. I gulped and stood up, knowing for a matter of fact that the power was cut off so the light shouldn't be on. I refused to walk into the kitchen, so I just reached around the corner and turned the light off. For a few beats, nothing happened. I held my breath and walked back into the living room to try and gather my thoughts. "Chris, you stink. Maybe you should take a shower," a woman's voice called as the bathroom light turned on and steam bellowed out of the room. I shook my head and ignored it once more. I decided to just leave the water running and the light on. I had this feeling that if I walked in there, I wouldn't be walking out. The shower ran for a good 2 hours until it and the light turned off at the same time. I had moved into the corner of my living room, away from all outlets and anything that I thought could hurt me. I had started to doze off when the doorbell rang. Weird, I thought to myself, as we were supposed to be practicing social distancing, and I don't know anyone. I slowly made my way to the front door and looked out the peephole. There stood a pizza delivery man with 2 large pizzas. He was sweating, his face red, and his hands were shaking. At first I thought he was just scared of something, but the more that I looked, the more I realized that he was angry. "Chris, I got the 2 large supreme pizzas you ordered. Please open the door and pay me so that I can be on my way," the man belted out as he pulled out a rag and dabbed the sweat off his neck. I backed away from the door and returned to the corner of the living room. The pizza man stood out there for 3 hours banging on my door. As the night grew darker, I grew more excited as I knew once the clock struck midnight, I would be safe and free. At exactly 11:45, all of the lights in my house turned on at once. My TV blared some previously recorded sports game. My radio was screaming something about the virus, and my cell phone rang at its highest setting over and over. I continued to sit in the corner of the living room, and I hate to say it, but I cried. I sobbed as loudly as I could as I rocked back and forth. I just wanted this nightmare to end. "Christopher, dear, it can all end if you just go to the bathroom. Don't worry, honey. You will finally be happy." My mom's voice echoed throughout the house. I ignored it. "Now, Chris, what did I tell you about listening to your mother? When she tells you to do something, you do it," my father's voice yelled over the chaos of my apartment. "I'm ready for you, baby," Cynthia called out from the bedroom as the door swung wide open. Once the clock struck midnight, everything became dead and silent. The power went off, the water stopped running, and my stomach stopped hurting. I knew I was finally safe. The reason why I told you this story is because Halloween is coming up, and I'm not sure if I have the willpower to go on. This may be the last holiday that I never celebrate, and I just wanted someone to hear my story and at least leave their kind words, sympathies, and just straight up care for my life. Alright guys, that is going to do it for day 4 of 13 days of horrible crafts and even scarier stories. Thanks again to Ksenia for allowing me to read her chilling tale. I have left the link to her YouTube channel down below, so please do check it out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching. Take care, and sweet dreams.